The Fighting Nerds, okay? This plot line is just fucking unbreakable. It is fucking immaculately playing out in front of our eyes right now. Do you want to know why I say that? There is 4 main Fighting Nerds fighters, okay? Kayo, Carlos Prates, Gene Silva, Mauricio Hufi. They have a combined 18 UFC wins, 0 losses. If you include their 5 Contender Series appearances, which they have 0 losses within, they're 23-0 under the UFC banner between 4 people, all from the same gym. This isn't just like 2 guys are buddy-buddy, or even 3 guys have a trio that they've trained together. This is one gym that has 4 people that all came into the UFC within about 2 years of each other, all in the Contender Series, all by getting finishes on the Contender Series or good performances, and they all get to the UFC, aside from Kayo, who has had a lot of decisions, but does have some finishes too, like Paul Craig, for example, and he essentially finished Jared Cannonier. And these guys are just knocking everyone out. Gene Silva's knocking out every single opponent. Carlos Prates is knocking out every single opponent. Hufi has knocked out 2 of his 3 opponents right now. We have 15... they've got 18 fights. 18 wins in the UFC. 23 overall. Okay? Out of their 23 wins, 15 of them are finishes, and 7 of those are in the first round. Who has ever put on a performance like this, as a group, as a collective? No one. Please enlighten me if I'm mistaken or uninformed or too much of a casual to know old school UFC lore where maybe this happened before. I don't think it did. It's kind of and do you want to know the next best thing about it? Gene Silva, 145 pounds. Mauricio Hufi, 155 pounds. Carlos Prates, 170 pounds. Kayo, 185 pounds. 4 divisions, back to back to back to back, with 4 killers getting knockouts, aside from Kayo, back to back to back to back. And it's, at this point, because there's 4 of them, we're getting a Fighting Nerd fight like every month. We just had Gene Silva fought 2 weeks ago, and then Mauricio Hufi just fought today, and then at UFC 314, we're getting another Gene Silva fight and a Carlos Prates fight. That's in a month. And Kayo is probably about to get booked against either Imavov or maybe Whitaker for a number 1 contender fight. And I would assume that's going to happen in like June. Probably. Maybe May. I doubt it. I doubt it'll be that soon. Maybe. But probably June. 3 months away. We're seeing these guys constantly. And that is... when there's one fighter, and you see them even if it's a really active guy, you see him every 4 months. That's great, and we love that. But that's 4 months at a time that we just don't see them. We see a Fighting Nerd every month. Every month. And some of them are active. Gene Silva is active as fuck. He just fought Charles Jourdain last year in June. 2 weeks later, fought Judo upper weight class. Then he just fought Melsik Bagdasaryan at UFC Seattle in February. And now, 2 months later, in April, he's fighting Bryce Mitchell. Another fight. 4 fights in a year. Carlos Prates also had 4 fights, all by knockout, in a year. Mauricio Hufi has now had 3 fights in a year. Am I wrong? I swear Mauricio Hufi has had 3 UFC fights in the last 12 months. Let me see if I'm mistaken. Because I believe that the Jamie Mullarkey fight, the James Lontop fight, and the Bobby Green fight have all happened within like 9 months. Jamie Mullarkey was in May last year at UFC 301. Then he came back in November last year and beat James Lontop. Then he comes back in March this year and beats Bobby Green. It's been 10 months and he's got 3 knockouts in the UFC. 3 wins in the UFC, 2 first round knockouts. And then if we're going to go onto the Fighting Nerds page and we're going to go across to Carlos Prates, Kayo, and Gene Silva. Kayo, has been in the UFC since 2022. In 3 years, he's gotten 7 wins. 7 wins in 3 years. We're seeing Kayo every 2 months. Every 6 months, sorry. Constantly. Knocked out Paul Craig. Choked out Mikhail Olajaychuk. He got a finish in his Contender Series as well. And he arguably knocked out Jared Cannonier. Gene Silva came into the UFC after his Contender Series performance, which was a decision, in 2023, September. January, last year, comes in, round 1 knockout. Comes back in June, misses weight for that fight, should be noted, but knocks out Charles Jourdain, goes up a weight class on short notice, knocks out Drew Dober, doctor stoppage, but still, he was fucking brutalizing the guy. 2 weeks later, that was 2 weeks later, and then he's been gone for 7 months, but he came back and knocked out Melsik Bagdasaryan in the first round, and now he's coming back less than 2 months later to fight Bryce Mitchell. It's April 12 is when that fight's booked. That is 5 weeks from now. 7 weeks apart his fights are right now. What are we doing? Like, what are we even talking about? June last year, July last year, February, April. That's 4 fights in... what? 9 months? June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, April. 9 months. 4 fights in 9 months. All knockouts. Oh, well, the Bryce Mitchell one, we don't know yet. But his 4 fights before that have all been in 13 months, and they were all knockouts. But this will be 4 fights in 9 months, and he has a chance to make it another knockout. Carlos Praches, 4-0 in the UFC. Won in the Contender Series in 2023, August. Came in February of 2024, round 2 knockout. June of 2024, round 1 knockout. August of 2024, literally 2 months later, round 2 knockout. November of 2024, literally another 2 months later? 3 months later. Less than though, 2.5 months later, another round 1 knockout. And now he's fighting Jeff Neal. This guy is literally about to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fights in 14 months. 5 fights in 14 months. He fought February, so March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. He had 4 fights in 9 months last year. February to November. It's fucking ridiculous, the activity of these guys, I'm telling you. Kayo Bahio fought twice last year, twice in 2023, 3 times in 2022. Like, what? What are we even doing? What are we talking about? And Kayo Bahio is on a 1. He's lost 1, 2, 3. Oh, it doesn't say what his win streak is. He's on a 16 fight win streak. There's a no contest in the middle of that one, but I don't know what happened. Let's see. The no contest was... it doesn't say. That doesn't say why, but it ended in a no contest, and the fight didn't actually. It was in the first round, so 16 fight win streak with a no contest in the middle of that. But even without that no contest, 14 fight win streak. Okay, Gene Silva, 12 fight win streak. Okay, Carlos Praches, 11 fight win streak. And then if we go back to Mauricio Hufi, he's on a 7 fight win streak now. Huh? And I'm talking, Mauricio's only got 1 loss. Bahio only has 1 loss. And Gene Silva only has 2 losses, which came in his first 5 fights. And if we go to Carlos Praches, he's got 6 losses on his record. But like I said, he's on a 12 fight win streak right now. It's like 11 fight win streak. He's on his Charles Oliveira type shit. He was literally, at a time, Carlos Praches was 5-4. That was his record. 5-4. Then he goes on a 3 fight win streak and then loses again. Now, 5-4. Then he goes on a 2 fight win streak, loses. 3 fight win streak, loses. After that, he's 10-6. Bro went from being 10-6 to 21-6 fighting in the rankings of the UFC. And that all happened in 5 years. 2019 was when that win streak started. All I'm here to say, the Fighting Nerds plotline is fucking playing out. And there is absolutely nothing we can do to stop it at this point. I'm just not picking against them. Every single time I see them fighting, I'm picking the fighting nerd. No questions asked. How am I going to be confident picking against them? I'm not. I don't think I will be. Until at least one of them loses. I cannot pick any of the other ones to lose. Gene Silver versus Bryce Mitchell. That's a tough matchup for Gene Silver. I gotta pick him. I have to pick him. Mauricio Hufi versus Benil Dariush if that was to happen. Gotta pick Mauricio Hufi there. Carlos Praches versus Jeff Neal. Gotta pick Carlos Praches there. Kayo Bahayo if he was to fight Whitaker. I'm probably picking Kayo. If Kayo Bahayo is to fight Imavov, that's a tough fight. But I don't know if I could bring myself to pick Imavov. I don't know if I could. I'd say Kayo Bahayo, no disrespect intended, is the one that I am the most likely to consider picking against. If that's really such an insult. The other guys are just a bit more dominant in their performances, but Kayo's still literally undefeated in the UFC. He's still on a 16-fight fucking win streak. Fuck undefeated records. At this point, who gives a fuck about undefeated records? I don't. I'm sick of acting like they are the be-all end-all. They're not. Give me 1 to 3 losses on your record. Praches is a bit different, but I love when that shit happens too. I love a dude that just goes win, loss, loss, win, 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 loss, win, loss, win, win, loss. All of a sudden, 10-fight win streak. That is fucking growth. That's what that is. That is fighters actually becoming better versions of themselves because they're losing to guys in the regional scene that aren't that good. Praches' losses are to a 6-0 guy, a 5-1 guy. He lost to a 9-10 guy. He lost to a 7-5 guy. He lost to someone that was 1-0 when he was 7-4. Don't matter though. It don't matter because eventually he evolves. They've evolved, all of them. Kayo had one loss early, his second fight ever, lost a decision. Since then, that ain't happening again. 16-fight win streak. Gene Silver lost 2 decisions in his first 5 fights. 3 finishes that he won, and then 2 decisions that he lost. Since then, said, I ain't losing another fight. 12-fight win streak. Mauricio Hufi won his first 5 fights, and then got knocked out by a guy in 2019. And that guy was 3-0 then. He's now 11-1. So that's a good talent to lose to. And that guy's 27 years old. He's 5'9". He's got 69 inches of reach. It's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. He's in Bellator right now. And he just lost his first ever fight in Bellator. There you go. He was undefeated. He was 11-0 when he came into Bellator. With a win over Mauricio Hufi. And Mauricio was 5-0 at that time. That guy was 3-0. That guy's now 11-1. And Mauricio is also now 12-1. I love an early loss. By all means. He got knocked out by him too. And then after that, went and beat an 0-1 guy. Bit of a comeback fight. Then he knocked out an 11-5 guy. Not great, but not bad. Then he knocks out a 41-8 guy. Bit of a questionable record in a sense, but that's a lot of experience. And I think this guy used to be in the UFC, Ronnie Torres. He went 0-2 in the UFC, okay. But he's got fuck tons of wins on a regional scene. He at one point went on like, oh my god, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. This guy went 23-1 in 25 fights, or 24 fights. He lost 1 fight in the middle of it. It's like an 11 fight and a 12 fight win streak back to back or something like that. It's mental. And this is the guy that Mauricio Hufi beat just before he got to the Contender Series. These guys have faced really good talent. And they've got losses on their record and they've grown from them. Majorly. All of them. And they've all come into the UFC prepared. This is what Khabib did. Khabib spent his fucking formative years fighting cans, getting better, got to the UFC, and he was ready to go. Okay? Luckily, he just didn't lose to any of them. Gene Silver, Carlos Praches, Kayo Bahayo, and Mauricio Hufi all had a couple of years where they weren't doing that well. They were doing okay. They lost a fight. They lost 2 fights. They lost 4 fights, whatever it is. and they just got better. They use that to learn, get better, and then after that, they start their win streak in the regional scene and continue it as they get into the UFC. That is what real growth and talent is like. Fuck undefeated records. I'm saying it. I don't actually care that much about. Obviously, it's still a very like highly praised thing, and it's got a lot of prowess to it. But I ultimately don't care. I ultimately don't care until I've seen you beat guys. Undefeated record just makes me think you haven't fought real competition. I'd much rather see you're 11-1, you know, you're 9-1, rather than see that you're 7-0 or something. I'm like, maybe he just fought 7 cans. 9-1, I'm like, okay, he lost one. Maybe that was to a good guy. He's fought 9 other guys. He's probably fought at least 3 or 4 really talented guys. Maybe 5 of those early fights were cans. He's probably fought some really talented guys. Maybe he lost a fight to a good guy, fought some cans after, and then now he's continued that win streak after the cans, fought some better talent, and continued to win against that better talent. Bravo. So, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. I think the Fighting Nerds are seriously on a generational plotline development process here. We have not seen fighters, not even just a fighter, fighters put together a storyline like this, man, for us fans to just indulge in on a monthly, bi-monthly basis. We don't even have to be like, oh, he won a big fight, but he took a lot of damage there. We'll see him in 6 months, you know? No. Don't matter how much damage a Fighting Nerd takes in a fight. You'll be like, cool, he'll be back soon. I bet there's another one of them fighting in 2 months. Sick. We'll see him soon. I'm sure that the other guys are going to be all over Instagram in their promotions for the other guys' fight. So Gene Silver might fight and then not come back for 6 months. Doesn't matter, because Carlos Praches and Mauricio Hufi and Kayo will have fights booked, and Gene Silver will be all over their Instagrams, all over the UFC's Instagram, maybe in the embedded series and stuff like that, being a part of the community and not being just disappearing from the world until he comes back with another fight announcement. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you did enjoy. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss any uploads or live streams. You'll be notified 30 minutes before they start and when they start, so that you can come and join in live and watch the fights with me and chat. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you did enjoy. I'll see you guys all in the next mixed martial arts video. Goodbye.